Good evening and welcome to Breaking Today News right here in Switch. Detected in Britain and South Africa. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, we are live as Switch TV News. Sending your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln. We'll go on to top stories tonight. President Uhuru Kenyatta signed into law the Tax Laws Amendment Bill 2020, which was passed yesterday by members of the National Assembly. Also signed into law is a T-Bill of 2018, which contains several reforms, among them the re-engineering of the Tea Board of Kenya to oversee the development, promotion and regulation of Kenya's tea sector. The bills were presented to the President for signature by Solicitor General Ken Ogeto in State House, Nairobi, at a brief ceremony attended by Agriculture CS Peter Munya, Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka and Leader of Majority in the National Assembly, Amos Kimunya. 33-year-old woman died today morning after a car plunged into the Indian Ocean. The woman's car, which was heading to Mombasa Island from Changamwe, lost control at MAKUPA Causeway Bridge and plunged into the sea at Kibarani area in Mombasa County. The woman, identified as Winnie Achieng, was in the vehicle with a teenage son who managed to roll down the car window and swim to safety. Good Samaritans rushed to the scene and removed Achieng from the car. The 33-year-old was rushed to the Coastal Provincial General Hospital, where she died shortly after admission. Doctors said Achieng suffered serious head injuries, leading to her death. News of Achieng's death was confirmed by Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kitio. Achieng's car wreckage was removed from the ocean and towed to a Mombasa police station.
Na nimesikitika sana maana nimeona kitu kilitokea hapa bila kuwa na habari. Nilisikia tu fly ya gari imeanguka. Kwenda kuangalia nikaona ni mtoto na mama anasema mamake ako chini. Sasa mimi kwa juhudi yangu na usaidizi wangu niliungana na wananchi wenzangu kuingia kutafuta yule mama. Tukamkuta yule mama hana fahamu na amelaliwa na gari. Ndio tukapata usaidizi wa breakdown wa fire brigade, wakaweza kumtoa yule mama nje.
Yule kijana wake ndo amebahatika kuchomoka kwa ile gari, akaogelea akatoka. Sasa kabaki hiyo gari sasa hapo ndani. Sasa katika ule muda kidogo ambao umekaa, baada ya kuchomolewa tukamwona yule mama yuko ndani pia. Tukamchomoa na yeye pia akiwa akapumua kidogo, lakini sasa sijui kama sahihi anaendelea vipi vile ambavyo ametolewa.
Also, a Maendeleo Chapter party leader and presidential aspirant Dr. Alfred Mutua has today unveiled former cabinet minister John Mutua Katuku as the party's candidate for the Machakos Senate seat in the forthcoming by-election. Speaking at the Alfred Mutua Campaign Logistics Center, Dr. Mutua said it was unfortunate that the county had to go back to elections following the demise of Senator Boniface Kabaka. Namkina Samuel with his story.
Just a day after the burial of the former Machakos Senator Boniface Kabaka, the Machakos County boss Alfred Mutua has criticized a section of politicians for turning the burial of the senator into a disrespectful political spectacle.
Kama chama cha Maendeleo Chapchap, baada ya kuwachunguza wengi ambao walikuwa wanataka kuitisha kiti cha seneta, hivi leo tunatangaza ya kwamba tumemchagua Mheshimiwa John Katuku.
Kati hii kiti imetokea na nilikuwa na interest, tukakaa chini zote na tukasema we shall support Mutua Katuku.
Mutua has called on Machakos people to support the candidature of John Katuku, who will be at the forefront lobbying for the welfare of the county.
Tumemfanya vetting, tumeangalia kama nyumbani yuko sawa, kwa sababu kama nyumbani yuko sawa pia huko kwa kiwanja inakuwa mbaya. Tumeangalia kwa kijiji yuko sawa, tumeangalia historia yake, tukaona ni mtu yuko na pesa yake, si mtu anatafuta kazi, si kazi anatafuta, anataka kuwahudumia wananchi.
Tukafanya mahesabu ya kisayansi na tukaona kwamba hii kiti lazima tuipate kama chama.
On his part, John Katuku, who previously also served as Assistant Minister for Finance, said he is ready to hit the campaign trail when the IEBC formally announces the by-election.
Saa hii nimeamua tuungane pamoja, tufanye maendeleo katika watu wetu wa Machakos.
Wala wapinzani watakuja. Kuna wale wanajiita sijui wakora, sijui hustlers, kuna wawaipa, lakini tunataka tuambie watu wa Machakos County tuangalie John Mutua Katuku.
The Maendeleo Chap Party candidate has also been endorsed by Yatta MP Charles Kilonzo. Namkana Samuel, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Namukana Samuel, for that story. Still on matters politics, Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has intimated that Western region is tired of rhetorics from leaders who do not have a vision for the region, adding that for 30 years the region has lagged behind in development due to poor leadership. In the chase for the elusive top seat for the Western region and the 2022 race for the top seat around the corner, Western unity is again the center stage for who should be the flag bearer. It is a region which has a huge number of politicians both eyeing the top seat, and in one way or another, external political influence gets better of them. At the end of the day, they find themselves deeply divided.
Wewe umesema Mkamba ni mmoja, Mjaluo ni mmoja, Rift Valley mmoja, Central mmoja, lakini ukija Kakamega hapa Western ni wangapi? Si tuna kitu fulani hapa. Sindio? Mnaonaje? Kwa sababu hao wawili wamepoteza watu kwa miaka hii yote. Sasa Oparanya nimejitokeza. Niwe mumo? Niwe wangani mumo? Ati wewe unataka kuwa president, unatembea hapa Western, jioni unaenda golf kunywa pombe. Ati unasema unatafuta president. President gani? Ndio kwa sababu nimesema wakati huu wasimame wasema ni wawili, hapo wamechanganya.
We all lose if you all think it's either you or me. Why not get together and make it a team, and comes to that team with whoever is at the helm of the team has agreed, representing then what everybody else, being the symbol of the rest of us. I think that better than before, the Western leaders are going to be talking among themselves better than they have done before. The good thing is that the goodwill for the Western leaders has not diminished much elsewhere in the country.
Moving on, Kenya has made significant political, structural and economic reforms that have largely driven sustained economic growth, social development and political gains over the past decade. However, its key development challenges still include poverty, inequality, climate change, continued weak private sector investment and the vulnerability of the economy to internal and external shocks. The COVID-19 pandemic is making Kenya's economy nosedive. Our business reporter Clifford Ndubi takes us through the economics perspective year 2020.
I feel pained that is where we are at this point in time.
It is the harsh reality we are facing of a once vibrant economy that, according to the World Bank, was one of the fastest growing in the sub-Saharan Africa at 5.7% between 2015 and 2019. But in 2020, it has contracted by 1%, mainly due to the unseen enemy every corner of the globe is fighting, the coronavirus. Kenya now staring to cross into the new year as the economy heads into a recession.
We are likely to see a GDP of either negative or even at the very best maybe about 1% growth, which tells you that we are not doing well at all. We have suffered seriously. So if we are not careful, we could actually move into that kind of situation.
Further to the fears arrayed by Musalia Mudavadi, another elephant in the room, is the ever-growing debts that are outweighing the balance between government's operations and reservicing the external debts. In financial year 2020-2021, the government intends to borrow a total of 569.4 billion, where 247.3 of these will be from external debts that signal a 30% drop from the borrowing experienced in financial year 2019-2020, which was a 318.9 billion. In 2013, when the Jubilee government came into power, the development blueprint they had was the main source of the large appetite they had of borrowing. According to Musalia Mudavadi, the ball lies squarely at the president's feet and is to blame for this weak economy, where there were no resources that would go in handy in aiding his developmental plan.
They were promising they would do this. They were promising the dams. They were promising they would do this. So they made so many promises. Commitments were made. But the resources to fulfill those commitments were not there.
In a country where unending political supremacy battles are a cup of tea, with the economy on its knees, politicians have been on the receiving end for prioritizing their ambitions instead of finding a way of fixing the economy first, which has been shaken by the COVID-19 to the core. The Kenyan economy heavily relies on importing rather than exporting. According to statistics by the World Integrated Trade Systems, Kenya exports have a 13.1% growth on the GDP compared to 23.01% of the imports to the GDP, meaning that we are not a production economy but a consuming one. In one way or another, the impact is being felt where local materials cannot be fully utilized to spur our economy. While some view COVID-19 as a blessing in disguise for our economy, through the need of realization that indeed Kenya can become a production country, therefore opening up opportunities for the youth, time has come for the government to lay a plan on making Kenya an industrial hub.
Strong drive for our production, our industries. Look, for what COVID has done, I think COVID was a wake-up call for Kenyan economy, particularly the African continent. That look, we've been over and over decades and decades taken a position of imports, that we are net importers. Everything is import. There isn't any that is not important. Because if we were to go to the election period of 2022 in a similar circumstances, you know, I see people saying that the fact that we're discussing a referendum is a necessary cost. When I ask people, is we did a rerun for a presidential campaign in 2017, not so long ago. Where are people forgetting that that re-election alone cost us 12 billion? So really, when we say that let's not get involved.
Summing up all these challenges facing our economy, and Treasury CS Ukur Yatani coming out clear and raising the alarm that all is not well, there is a likelihood of mass job layoffs come next year. This will add more burden to the government, where revenue collection has been affected immensely, which came as a result of over 2 million people losing their jobs due to the pandemic. Leaders are of the opinion that the only way out to rescue the economy is loans renegotiation.
We need to figure out, as we talk, what do we do with that big debt in the light of a depreciating shilling? We have to quickly start talking to our creditors for renegotiation and rescheduling and restructuring of our debt. If we don't, then we come across painful situations.
Now, putting into perspective on the best measures to recover economically, Kenya needs policymakers and policy implementers who will pinpoint the gaps in the economic development of the country in order to ensure that there is an increase in revenue collection. In Kenya, ICT currently adds 2% to the GDP against a targeted 10% contribution, a backdrop largely attributed to the underdevelopment of ecosystem for creation of local content, an industry which has the potential of employing over 200,000 youths. According to statistics by the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, online workers stand at only 677,961,000, a number that can increase if there can be a good broadband connectivity alongside closing the skills gap. The Kenya Revenue Authority announced that they will tax online businesses in its bid to increase revenue collection.
We look at our universities, and we've been on this conversation for long that it's high time we stopped teaching programs that are adding no value. Right now, we are highly a digital economy. The world is highly digitized. So we should be seeing like ICT in Kenya is almost overtaking tourism and coffee and tea. If you're talking about, if you look at the M-Pesa economy, which is clearly a digital economy, there should be a correlation with the development.
For the president, the ball is in his court to ensure that there is an economic equilibrium balance to protect the gains Kenya has made so far. Clifford Ndubi, Switch TV.
Thank you, Clifford Ndubi. Well, with our story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, we are live as Switch TV News. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya. The co-founder of BIONTECH says that it is highly likely that its vaccine against the coronavirus works against a mutated strain detected in Britain, but it could also adapt the vaccine if necessary in 6 weeks. According to him, the variant detected in Britain has 9 mutations rather than just 1, as is usually common. Nevertheless, he has voiced confidence that the vaccine developed with Pfizer will be efficient.
BIONTECH is a European company. We're absolutely delighted, and it's really great to see. This is one of the first conditional approvals anywhere in the world, and it's not just for one country, it's for 27, so really delighted. We're just finishing off the paperwork actually, just to make sure the qualities on the vaccines are still appropriate, and then we will start shipping as early as tomorrow morning. Coronaviruses, as many viruses, are inherently unstable and change quite frequently. And we've been aware of 19 changes to the COVID-19 virus since it was discovered. And our vaccine has demonstrated that it works against all 19 of those variations. With the new variation, it's really too early to say, and we're testing at the moment to see if we continue to maintain efficacy. And that's one of the great advantages of mRNA. It is really good for a pandemic. We can change the vaccine and have a new vaccine ready for discussion with the regulatory authorities in 6 weeks.
India has joined a growing list of countries to temporarily suspend all flights from Britain after the emergence of a new and more infectious strain of coronavirus there. India's Ministry of Civil Aviation announced flights will stop until December 31st this year.
India has confirmed that it is joining other countries in temporarily suspending all flights from Britain after the emergence of a new and more infectious strain of coronavirus there.
I think this is a good decision, to be honest, because I think we were really late in banning the flights when the corona pandemic hit, and that is why we got it. It could have been postponed or minimized in similar terms, like if we would have taken action this quickly to corona as well, like the first version of corona basically.
Britain is home to a huge Indian diaspora, and several flights per day take hundreds of people between London and New Delhi and London and Mumbai.
So since no one knows about this newer version, it's better to not risk people's life and maybe have an impact otherwise than risking lives.
India has recorded more than 10 million coronavirus infections, the second highest in the world after the United States, and 145,000 deaths. However, its rate of infections has come down sharply in recent weeks from almost 100,000 per day in September to around 25,000.
They have invested so much of money, so much of time, and you never know for what reasons they are visiting the other countries. So we should never just simply put a ban without a proper explanation as why it has been done. Maybe the reason there is very severe, but still we should also consider the fact that people who are traveling with a reason. So that's what I feel. I do not appreciate that.
More than a dozen European nations have already banned flights and travelers from Britain, with more expected to take action. Health authorities in Britain's former colony Hong Kong also said UK flights will be banned. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi Kelvin, for that story. It's now time to delve deep into the world of commerce. Fintech is the digital sector of retail money and finance widely proclaimed to be transforming banking in the global north and banking in the unbanked in the global south. Through experimentation with the platform business model and building on digital infrastructures and data flows of the broader platform ecosystem, a constellation of organizations including startups, early career firms, big tech companies and incumbent banks are engaged in processes of platform re-intermediation. So how is the future looking like for this industry in the country? Our business desk spoke to the chairman of the Digital Lending Association of Kenya, Kevin Mutiso, to shed more light.
I think we have a promising future in digital lending because there are a lot of good things happening. We're just waiting for the germination of some of these seeds that were planted by the various stakeholders to germinate. And we're hopeful that 2021 will be the year we start, seeing the harvest, so that we can have a strong digital lending market. I think digital lending in Kenya is going to set a global standard. I think the regulation that's coming out next year is going to be so progressive that markets will come and, people from the US, people from Singapore will come and look at us just like they did with M-Pesa and say, look how well the Kenyans are doing it. How can we not do it in our home markets? And because of that, I think we're going to attract a lot of investment, and I think we're going to be one of the most modern places on earth in the next 20 years.
Savings and Credit Cooperatives Organizations, SACCOs leaders have been challenged to encourage youth and women to join their financial institutions to strengthen their economic muscle as COVID-19 continues to hammer the economy. The Commissioner for Cooperative Development, Geoffrey Njeng'ombe, has urged the saving and lending facilities to throw spanners into works and develop products geared towards youth and women.
Speaking in Mombasa during the launch of the instant ATM check transaction and PesaLink smart card services for Mombasa Port Sacco, Njeng'ombe said the new concept will ensure smooth service delivery to the members despite challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the globe economy.
The youth form a very large part of our population. I urge SACCOs leadership to design new and exciting products and services that will attract not only the youth but also women as well.
The Commissioner noted that in order to strengthen cooperative movements, the government has appointed a 14-member task force mandated to initiate and develop a framework for the implementation of the National Cooperative Policy in the areas of cooperative legislation, cooperative institutional reforms, and cooperative capacity building.
I reiterate the need for SACCOs to restructure their loans to cushion their members against the socio-economic effects of COVID-19.
The policy identifies contemporary challenges that inhibit the growth of the cooperative societies and explores a paradigm shift, establishing a more proactive engagement between the national government, county governments, the cooperative movement, and other stakeholders in addressing these challenges.
The cooperative concept is unique and applicable to all sectors of the economy in the fact that it brings together different classes of people regardless of their socio-economic status.
The CEO emphasized that the SACCO has tremendously recorded financial growth over the years with an asset base of 6.8 million and has continued to pay dividends to its members yearly. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi Kelvin. Now away from politics and business, it's now time to get sporty. Manchester City piled on the misery for Arsenal with a ruthless performance at Emirates Stadium to reach the Carabao Cup semi-finals. Barely 2 minutes on the clock, Gabriel Jesus noted City ahead. The Brazil forward was completely unmarked inside the 6-yard area when he met Alexander Zinchenko-Kroos.
City, by their standards, have underwhelmed in their recent league games, but they hit the ground running against the Gunners.
Now Zinchenko. Cross from Zinchenko's a good one, and Manchester City are in front. Only 2 minutes played, it's Gabriel Jesus with the header.
Barcelona moved past Real Valladolid 3-0 in an enticing Spanish La Liga fixture. The Clement Lenglet and Martin Braithwaite grabbed one each before Lionel Messi closed in the winner.
They'd beaten in all 4 meetings since Valladolid's top flight.